This is Catching Exceptions, and today I'm going to introduce you to a medieval monsieur, a Renaissance writer, Dan Solovay. So thank you for being here with me today. I appreciate it. So the way this works is I'm going to ask you a few questions and then just try to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
All right, question one. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Berkeley, California. And it's an interesting preparation for living in the Northeast. Every time we have a snowstorm, at least for a month, I'm thinking, wow, this is actual snow. I get to shovel actual snow. Well, in February, that kind of wears off, but it gets me started.
I love Cali. So you were a Berkeley boy. Did you get to see any of the protests or any of the...
I kind of missed that, though I do remember coming back, from a camping trip and seeing all these Marines or Army people camped out on people's parks. I've got a vague childhood memory of that, but, I missed the really dramatic stuff.
Yeah. All right. Second question. What was it that got you started in programming?
Interesting. So, being in Berkeley, there was a place called the Lawrence Hall of Science, and you could get time on computers there for, I don't remember how much an hour, but you could rent time. And the great thing is, computers were a teletype. So you would go up to a teletype and you would play Star Trek or whatever, and you would type in your commands, armed photon torpedoes, and it would start typing stuff out, and it's printing out, the star chart. And you have all these kinds of, geeky kids all playing Star Trek or whatnot on these teletype machines. And I remember when they started coming out with the cathode ray screen, I was like, you can't tear off a printout. What's the point of that? So that was kind of in the background. I took a class in programming as a kid, and looking back on it, I realized we were trying to teach data structures and linked lists, and I was like, you're arranging these boxcars, and then you might maybe want to move the boxcars around. Why would you want to do that? Didn't really click, but it was kind of in the background. I took a course in it in college, and I remember the professor of the course mentioned recursion and said that recursion was this very advanced topic, and that they covered that in CS. So I used recursion in every single method, and he was very impressed. Kind of lurked around in the background. I was in Paris, and I remember I was procrastinating work on my thesis, which is on the game of chess in medieval French literature, by trying to write a chess program in C. I do remember that, getting really into that. That was the main thing I remember for that year. And then later on, so I'm doing this whole medieval French thing where it's one job a year. In Iowa one year, in Ohio State the other year, and I was realizing this was really not the most practical thing you can be doing with your life. And I had a conversation with my wife, and she said, if you wanted to start fresh, what would you do? And I remembered working that C program to calculate chess moves, and I said programming. And that's how I got started with it. Rather late.
You still play chess?
A little bit. My kids won't play with me. So, it's languages have kind of taken that over. It's like my geeky hobby.
Yeah, okay. So the third question is, where do you work now? What are you doing?
I'm working in a company called XCentium. They're headquartered in Los Angeles. I'm here in Boston, so that basically means the XCentium Boston office is my basement, which is a great commute. That's going to change soon, but but I work with some really great people, and it's a really challenging, inspiring place to work where you're just constantly learning from and interacting and teaching really sharp people, having a lot of fun.
Sounds like a great place. So the fourth question is, what is it that still keeps you interested in programming?
I feel I have no clue what's going on. There's always 80% of what I do, I feel like, async and await, I've got no idea what that's about, or whatever the thing is, and I go through this cycle of, gee, I got to figure this out because people might figure out I have no idea what's going on, and then I figure it out, and then I want to explain it, and then there's enough times where it's something that I went through that kind of anxiety phase with a month earlier, and someone comes up and oh yeah, you have to do this, you have to do that, So I think it's a little bit imposter syndrome and a little bit passion for teaching. And those two work together really well.
That's a good mix. All right, so the fifth point is not a question. This is your opportunity to give your exception message.
Okay, here's what I want you to do. You're working on a project. I guarantee you it doesn't have a unit test project associated with it. Create one, class library. Use XUnit, by the way. Okay, so you've got your unit test project. You've installed NUnit or XUnit. Write a failing unit test. Okay, put in a little bit of time to do that. Get that test to pass. Now put it away, check it in, don't look at it again. Come back 3 months later. I guarantee you there will be 4 or 5 additional tests added by other developers. Get it started. Test-driven leadership.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So that was Catching Exceptions, and you just met Dan Solovay, the lead architect at XCentium. Next time you see me, we're going to be getting to know somebody else. Till then, hang loose.